Hey, everybody, how's everyone doing? Welcome to another What's the Buzz, where we interview ecosystem builders. That's what you are. That's the hat you're wearing today, Brian. Ecosystem builder.
All right.
Amongst every and other things that I know you do, such as cell therapy developers and building builders and many other jobs you wear. But these events, we like to interview people who are helping to build biotech ecosystems all around the country. Really, we've been talking with people. Um, my name is Chris Frew, founder of BioBuzz, and I want to welcome everybody today. We're talking with Brian Stamper, who is executive director of cell and gene therapy operations at AstraZeneca. Welcome, Brian.
Nice to see you, Chris. I'm glad to be here.
Likewise, great to see you. Before we jump in, I want to just give thanks to our sponsor. We have a great sponsor who supports these programs for us, CRB. And I like to say, while we're talking about ecosystem building today, they are the ones that literally physically build our ecosystem. So if you're in a lab or a manufacturing facility anywhere around the capital region, and often nationally with CRB, they specialize in life sciences, design, engineering, and construction. So it's a good chance you're probably working in a building or a lab that they built. So CRB, thank you for all the building you do so that we can talk about building today.
Yeah, and I would say CRB designed and imagined construction of the building I lead. So it's very close to home.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Great. So see that you heard it right here. I'm There's a good chance that you're in a building that's done by CRB, including what we'll talk about today. So Brian, why don't we start off? Could you give everybody just a little bit of an introduction to you and your role and kind of the role you have at AstraZeneca?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Chris. So again, Brian Stamper. I'm executive director and general manager of a new cell therapy manufacturing facility we are building in Rockville, Maryland. It's about 10 minutes away from our main headquarters in Gaithersburg, Maryland, for AstraZeneca, especially biologics. So my role there is to lead the facility, right, and make sure we're ready to supply patients. We're going to start out supplying clinical trials, and then if all goes well in the clinical trials, the intent is for this facility in Rockville to be the commercial launch facility for cell therapy programs, especially autologous cell therapy programs within AZ. And we're super excited about the opportunity to do that. I've been in the industry about 25 years. I've been at AstraZeneca, I was at Kite Pharma, which is where I learned cell therapy, which was a wonderful experience. I worked at Lonza for a short time. I worked for a small startup called Immunomic Therapeutics for a short time. And then way back when, I started out working at Eli Lilly as a entry-level process development, as bench scientist. And then for about 4 or 5 years, and then the next 4 years after that at Lilly, this is in Indianapolis, I was a manufacturing associate on the floor, on shift, running bioreactors and centrifuges and things. And I like to tell people that's where I learned the most about manufacturing. Was that time when I was, working 6 to 6, 7 out of every 14 days, really understanding the operations. And so that's where I feel like I earned my chops, as it were, working in that job.
Well, to be a good leader, you kind of have to know the job that you're leading. So, I mean, you gotta get your hands dirty to know really what you're building and leading.
Yeah, it was a great experience. And one of the things we'll get into it, I'm sure, as we talk here today, but one of the things we really focus on here at AZ and within the site here at Rockville is creating the right environment where, we have a very diverse team, and that's very intentional. We believe that gives us a lot of strength. And creating the right environment where people have the opportunity to speak up and be themselves. That's something we really focus on. And I think, at least for me, I learned the importance of that on that job more than anything else, because I was the lowest of the low on the totem pole. But I worked in an environment where my voice was still heard, and that was very meaningful for me. And so I tried to carry that on still today.
That's great. Well, that's a great segue, Brian. I mean, one of the reasons why we had you on today is because AstraZeneca, we do this yearly contest. It's an awards contest, and it's People's Choice. So it's voted on by all of you, our listeners, and everybody in the region. And we do that on purpose. And it's also, nominations are also open. So BIBA is all about transparency and community and really putting out there. So AstraZeneca was voted this year's Employer of the Year. So congratulations to that.
Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why we didn't talk to you is, you're one of the largest, if not you're the largest biotech employer in Maryland. Voted
my
Employer
knowledge, yeah, that's correct.
And I'm sorry, say that?
To my knowledge, that is correct. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, we have some of the. I think you are the largest. And you were voted Employer of the Year. It sounds like there's a lot of intentionality that goes into your workforce, your people, your culture. So tell us, what does it mean to be recognized by probably a lot of those were your employees that voted, and others that have worked probably for you over the years. That we know biotech, you move around a little bit like you have. What does that mean to be recognized by so many people? We had over 5,000 votes.
Yeah, that's unbelievable, and that's a lot of votes. It's a great honor, obviously. The work we do here, we're here to help people and significantly impact patients' lives, right? And that in and of itself, our mission and vision is something that carries us through each day. But really beyond that, like I was just mentioning, we put a lot of focus, and it's quite intentional, as you said, to create the positive work environment. A great place to work is always on our scorecard and our goals to make sure we're doing the right thing for our employees. Because we understand, as many people do, I think, but we understand the importance of creating that great place to work. Because one, you get people motivated, energized, and engaged and be part of the exercise. But then from a pure business standpoint, even if you ignored all that, which you shouldn't do, but if you did, the other benefit is you tend to get more productivity out of people, right? And so people are going to bring their best, and they're going to do their utmost to drive the business along. And in our case, driving the business along means we're impacting that many more patients. And so it's a great honor to get the award, and we're excited to be recognized for the work we do. Chris?
Hey, there you go.
There we go. All right, good.
Tackling technical challenges is what we all do every day, right?
Yeah, all right. I didn't know if that was you or me. All right, very good.
All good. So you were saying how you were very intentional about really the employee experience and everything you create there.
Yeah, no, it's a big part of what we do, and like I said, it's creating a great place to work is something that's high on our scorecard each year, part of our goals, and something we focus on, and we're again quite honored to be recognized for all that effort.
That's great. Do you have any? So tell us, how would you define like the culture there? Like, what's the culture like? And I mean, do you have any stories that kind of exemplify that?
Yeah, I don't have any specific stories necessarily, but I will say it is something, and it's something I preach here at the site really a lot is speak up. And so it's very important for us to have an environment in which people feel very safe to speak up, very comfortable to speak up, challenging the status quo. Because again, we intentionally hire a diverse team, and we believe there's a lot of power there. But you don't get the benefit of that diverse team if you don't have an inclusive environment where people can bring their best self to work, right? Where they can speak up. And so that's something that we focus on quite a bit. We have been recognized as one of America's best large employers, best employers for women, America's Dream Employers by Forbes this year, actually. And so there's been quite a number of awards, and we think that's all, we like to think anyway, that's all because of the work we do to create that positive environment where people can bring their best self to work. So it's something I talk about daily with the team here, and I hear talked about in many circles here at the company.
Yeah, that's an important quality. I mean, the work is so challenging these days for everybody, and the work you all do is challenging itself. So it's important for when people can come to work and know that they have a voice and they're showing up every day to win at whatever they're doing. I didn't realize that. So recognized as one of the best large employers. Congratulations on that as well.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So that's important because AstraZeneca has got really big goals right now. So, I think $80 billion in revenue target by 2030. I mean, cell therapy, I know is a big part of that as well. We're talking on the heels of the news that came out this week. The AstraZeneca just acquired another company, ESO Biotech. Seems like a great new asset to pull in. And with, I haven't looked at it in detail, but they're trying to deliver cell therapy in record time, really cut down the time in delivery. So there's a lot of big goals. You need a strong team to be able to accomplish big things like what you're doing. And at the end of the day, the big thing is saving lives. So when you think about kind of all AstraZeneca, a huge company, but we break it down to Maryland, how does that impact what happens here in Maryland? So tell us, like, what's you're the new cell therapy building you're doing. What's going to be housed there? Is it, what are the programs? What's the focus that you're all going to be you focus on day in, day out as you work toward those big goals?
Sure. Yeah. So, one of the reasons I love working here is AZ is not shy, right? We're a bold group, and we use the phrase "bold ambition" quite a lot, and it's something where we really believe in that. And so, go big or go home kind of thing, right? So it's something we're very excited about. So, but here at the facility in Rockville, as I mentioned, we're intending to be the eventual commercial launch facility for many of the cell therapy programs. We've got quite a good pipeline, quite diverse pipeline within cell therapy, which we're very excited about. And right now, we're going to be clinical as we get going next year. We'll start clinical batches first to support the clinical trials, and then as things progress, we will, with any luck, things will look really good in the clinical trial. We're very encouraged, obviously, by some of the early data, but we'll see how things pan out. But the idea, though, is for us to be that commercial manufacturing facility and in a position to supply anywhere on the globe as demand requires it. So we're excited about that.
That's great. So cell therapy, there's been a lot of the conversation around cell therapy is, and advanced therapies in general is manufacturing is critical, right? Mm-hmm. It's critical to reducing costs. It's critical to the supply chain. So, tell us, what are some things, nothing proprietary, but what are some things that you all are thinking about or that you're building into this new next, generation advanced facility to really, innovate and advance some of these key issues and bottlenecks that have existed in cell therapy?
Yeah. So for many people may already know this, but for those who are maybe not quite as familiar with cell therapy, autologous cell therapy, especially, which is what we're planning to do here. This is a situation where one manufacturing batch is for one patient only, right? And so that person is in the hospital waiting on their cells. And so speed is of the essence. And so it's something where it's not, I did traditional biologics, biotech for 20 years, right? And so coming into cell therapy about 5 years ago, a little over 5 years ago now, it's a very different modality in that the patient is waiting. And so from a supply chain connectivity standpoint and connection to the clinics, it's very integrated, and everyone has to be super collaborative for this to be successful. And so everything we do is around, right first time to make sure that we get the patient their cells because they are waiting for it. If we lose a batch, it's not a guarantee that we'll be able to do another one. It depends on the indication and the health of the patient, those types of things. And so it's something we take very, very seriously. And so we're using a lot of the latest technologies to allow us to do things like closed processing and fast QC testing and disposition, so we can get those cells back to that patient as quickly as possible, while of course making sure that we're meeting all of our release criteria, sterility, those kind of things. Right, we have to do that. So it's something that we put a lot of focus on being fast, but also with quality every step of the way to make sure that the cells these patients get are the right efficacy and safety for them. And so it's exciting to be a part of it, to build this out, and we're taking a couple of risks here and there with some new technology we're going to shake out as we go, which is part of the fun of being on the cutting edge here of this new modality.
Yeah, you can't. You mentioned you can't be bold without taking a little bit of risk. Yeah. But again, risk in our industry is very calculated.
Yeah, no, you got to be thoughtful about it, right? You can't be crazy with it. But I think with thoughtful risk and kind of smart calculated risk, like you're saying, I think you can still do it. Just have good risk management plans and mitigation plans, whatnot, in place to make sure that the patient's going to get their cells every time.
Yeah, that is so critical, especially, and I'm glad you walk people through that because some people might be watching for the first time and don't realize that there is definitely, it's a one batch, one patient. It's an intense process, a lot more intense than creating a large 5,000 liter batch of vaccine. It's a different ball game.
Yeah, and one of the things, absolutely, and we don't have any product inventory, right? And so it's not like you can rely on that for something in case you have an outage. And so one of the things we've designed, working very closely with CRB and our partners, design this facility in Rockville, is for it to never shut down. And so not planned. I mean, I say that it's going to happen at some point, I'm sure, but not planned, not unplanned or anything. And so we built in a lot of resiliency and redundancy into the design, which wasn't cheap and wasn't easy. It's taken a lot of effort to figure all that out to make sure that we never lose the facility. And so 24/7, 365 is a real thing. Where we're not going to have an annual maintenance shutdown, right? And so we have to do rolling maintenance. and design the facility in such a way to enable that. And so it's those types of things are a little bit different than maybe what you would see in other biotech facilities. And so it's something that we put a lot of focus on. And there's a phrase we used in partnership with CRB on the project called "Save a Day, Save a Life," where again we think every day matters, and speed really is critical. Whether you're building a new building or trying to execute a batch, it matters. And so the sooner we get there, the better. And so it's really been kind of our vision in the skies that we're to get this through as quickly as possible. And it's been a great partnership, and we're excited about how well it's going.
That's great. Well, they're definitely an industry leader. I mean, I enjoy, even just as an industry person, geeking out when I talk to them about some of the strategies, because when you're a design company like them that's designing things and in a novel industry. I mean, we're still early days in cell therapy, right? So things are changing and evolving. Having experts at the table that can think with you through some of these kind of rolling, evolutionary things, and think about things like speed, and think about things like, agility, and kind of what's next in 3 years for the facility. That's critical.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, think about the cell therapy industry, right? And so that the products were first commercially launched less than 10 years ago. And even in that less than 10 years, we've learned a ton between now and then, right? About how to be more robust and resilient, all those things, how to scale up and do thousands of patient batches per year. How do you do that reliably with good data integrity and all these things? And so it takes quite a lot of thought and effort to get it right.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people don't realize this. And I like this. You said save a day, save a life. Is that what it was?
Yeah. It's on our hard hats and everything. Yeah.
That's awesome. It's something, again, my dad was in construction for 40 years, right? So they would bring him in to get projects on time. It wasn't about saving lives. He was building different, it was just owners wanted to save money and not lose money. It's different in this field, right? I mean, save a day. I mean, that's an amazing, powerful statement that save a day, save a life. Because it's not about the, at the end of the day, like, there's patients waiting for these things that every day you save, you're starting to get product to patients.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So and something else that's really big that, I've heard from some of the other employees and talking with them is like the sustainability element. So sustainability was built into this building also, right?
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. So we are on our way. We're not done building it yet, right? But we're on our way to being LEED Platinum. And so I think we're, 84, 85 points. So it's something where we're very proud of that. And anyone who pays attention to what AZ is up to knows that sustainability is a major initiative for us. And something we focus on across the globe, frankly. And so we're a carbon neutral facility, LEED Platinum, and something we take very seriously. And we're proud to be able to say that. And in general, we believe that protecting the planet also helps people's health. And so it's not hard to draw the so-called business case or draw the connection between sustainability and what we do to try to improve people's lives. So those two really go hand in hand. And so we feel it's our responsibility to do what we can there.
Yeah, that's a good correlation. Is there anything you can share? Like, what are some things that you're doing that's innovative around sustainability that's enabling you to get these LEED statuses?
Yeah. So one of the first things we talked about early on, and a key decision we made on the project, was to go full electric. And so the building is 100% electric, with one small exception. We have a backup generator that's on diesel if everything else fails. But other than that, it's a 100% electric building. And so we believe that goes a long ways. We're recapturing a lot of the heat and different things, of course, as part of the utility operations, to make sure we're being as efficient as possible and releasing as little waste as possible. So that's a big part of it. But that full electric was a big conversation because it wasn't free. And so for us to be able to set that up is something we're pretty proud of.
Yeah, that's great. So Brian, I want to talk a little bit about. I mean, it's amazing to, as a Maryland guy that I am, like, it's amazing to have such an awesome facility here, like that's in Maryland. You mentioned Kite built a facility, so Maryland very, very soon is going to be producing, commercial, clinical for you guys, but like a large amount of commercial cell therapy that's on the product is going to be coming out of Maryland. What's your take on the Maryland ecosystem? Like, you've been part of this for a long time. You've seen it evolve. what's it been like this round, building in Maryland, thinking about the workforce, thinking about, again, the partners like CRB that are located. I wonder if you could just talk a little bit about that, like where you see Maryland's kind of role and how strategic of a decision it was for AZ to keep investing here.
Sure. Yeah. So one thing, and I'll talk about one aspect first, then I'll kind of narrow in a bit more, but one of the aspects of autologous cell therapy, again, is speed, right? And so one of the critical elements when siting a facility is transportation and distribution and logistics. And so the fact that we are close to two major airports in Dulles and Reagan, it's not all that far to Baltimore, even up to Philly if we were in a pinch. And so having that ability to quickly get cells in and out of the facility is really critical. And so having that infrastructure and transportation hub so nearby it was a big part of it. But that's for cell therapy specific. But in general, for the Maryland economy here and ecosystem, it's something where we look at workforce availability, right? We look at the relationship we have with local and state governments, those types of things. And so, one of the things I put a lot of effort into is I'm pretty involved with the Maryland Tech Council and the BioHub program there. And our big goal there is to create work, bring more and more people into the industry, the life science industry, and have that workforce development, because that's going to be critical to the industry's success in the region. Plus, it helps give some people maybe who would not otherwise have a way to get their foot in the door a chance to do that. And so we're excited about that opportunity. But really that, and partnering with the academic institutions, and so the University of Maryland system, Montgomery College, Howard, other community colleges, those types of things is a wonderful thing for us to be able to partner with them, both for maybe some collaborations and things about things we can do projects together, but really about workforce and getting people out of those great programs into the industry and come to work for us. And so the industry, we do a lot of poaching from one company to the next, and that only gets you so far, right? And so you need to be in a setting where you can have these external partners to help to create that talent pipeline to help you be successful in the long run. And that's a big part of it. So, I mean, we in the state of Maryland now, AZ, we've got over 5,700 employees. That's quite a lot, in my opinion. That's not by accident, right? That's intentional. And so we're excited to be a part of this.
Yeah, that's great. So workforce development, I'm glad you touched on that. I mean, that is huge because especially, when in cell therapy, right, you need a larger workforce in cell therapy than you do in traditional biologics. So that's one, especially at the tech level, cell therapy specialist level. But talk about maybe also like, how have you seen this evolved? I like to think about workforce development also like techs to execs. Like a lot of times we think about workforce development with techs, but techs to execs is something I've been saying a lot lately. Like, for an industry to thrive, right? Like, we also still need the Brian Stampers of the world that are here or willing to come here to be part of AZ's growth as well. So, could you talk a little bit about that? Like, how you see, our workforce on the exec side or the experienced professional side. And again, and why it's maybe easy for you to relocate people to Maryland or
Yeah, no, I will say I'm not as involved on that side of things. But I relocated here with my family. I've got 3 daughters. They're all in college now. We relocated here over 15 years ago for me to come work what was then called MedImmune, right? Bought up by part of AstraZeneca, and it was a great. We still live in Frederick County, and it was a great place for us to live and to raise our girls. And so that made it easy. And so you think about the ecosystem, and that's a critical part also. And so the great schools and those types of things creates a positive environment for people and an attractive environment for people to come and want to live. So it's something that I don't know, from a purely personal perspective, not any kind of easy messaging here, but it was something that I was excited to be able to move here and raise our girls here. It was something that worked out really well for us. So they didn't go too far, even though they're in college now. So hopefully they'll not go too far away from us.
Well, that's great. Frederick's a great place. You have a facility in Frederick as well. It's not where the cell therapy is, but you have a large.
I used to work up there as well. Yeah, the biologics facility up there. Yeah.
Yeah. So we hear that a lot. That Frederick's a good place to land. But Maryland, it's interesting. you mentioned you're kind of at AstraZeneca, you're bold. The Greater Baltimore Committee in Baltimore just launched a new brand around being bold as a new initiative for the city or the Greater Baltimore regional economic development. So it seems to be a common embracement that's happening right now. But Maryland has grown. I mean, AstraZeneca, MedImmune to AstraZeneca, Kite, Amgen's now here, right? We have GSK, we got United Therapeutics, UT down the road. So it's a different state than it was back when you joined in MedImmune.
Yeah.
It's probably a lot of it because of not only the people like you moving here, but but the talent that programs like BioHub are training have now pathways to become the next Brian Stampers. Right here without having to move as much.
Yep, no, absolutely. Like I said, in the intro, I was a tech on the floor for 4 years ago, right? And so, it's been, sometimes I sit and look back and I'm kind of surprised about how things are going. Frankly, it's not like I had some grand master plan. It just kind of worked out well. But no, I think seeing the growth and seeing the bigger companies, but also like the Macrogenics and Regenix Bios, others here in the region. It's great to see this such an innovative environment, innovative ecosystem where people can come and thrive. So it's exciting to be a part of it.
Yeah. Precigen also could have a new drug hitting the market in advanced therapies, and then Regenix has one. So yeah, there's a lot that's I think the next couple of years. So when we think about where you're at now, what's the growth like when the facility comes online? Like how many jobs are you talking about creating? Like 5,700 is a lot of jobs in Maryland already. So do you have a lot of the people there that are at MedImmune? Or are you going to be hiring to grow this facility? Maybe talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, so for sure. So at the site now, we're still in startup mode, so we don't have a ton of people yet. We're still fewer than 100. But the intent is, again, we're intending to start GMP production early next year, and then ramp up from there as the clinical trials progress to eventual commercial launch. And it'll be in the hundreds of people. And so we're excited about that. We're actually already talking about how do we add more parking and those kind of things, right? As we prepare for the people we hire in the future. And so it's a great problem to have. So it's something we're excited about growing the site, mostly again because that means we're serving that many more patients, and that's why we come to work each day. And so it's exciting for us to have an operation that's going to scale that way.
Yeah, that's very exciting. And as you mentioned earlier, you sound pretty confident the workforce is here. It sounds like some of it might get pulled from other companies in the area, but it sounds like you're also chopping wood and carrying water to develop the next generation too.
Yeah, it's not. Yes, I think we can hire. I think we're a great place to work. We believe in that, and we believe that's a big a great way to attract talent to the company. But I never ever take anything for granted. And so it's something where we do put a lot of effort into workforce development, partnering with schools, influencing curriculum at schools, be it high schools or colleges, to see what can we do to help those programs along and to create the next generation of leaders here within the life science industry. And so there's a lot of good companies, and we all need our talent because we're all serving patients in our own way. And so while we do poach from each other, it's really to give someone that next opportunity, which then creates opportunities behind them in the position they may vacate. And so it's not a bad thing for people to move around. But at some point that does become finite. And so it is important to continue to build that workforce of the future.
Yeah. Yeah. As you know, I run Workforce Genetics, a recruiting company as well. So we see it every day. And it's often people are looking for that next step, and in this industry, there's a lot of companies that have a really important mission. We're all working together. It's not really competition, but it is, to a degree,
competition. It's a little healthy.
It's a little competition. End goals are the same, but it is going to be a little competition to get in there. But we see that all the time, and that people leave for a couple things. It's culture is a big part of it. As a recruiter, I'm sharing my experience now, and it's also it is opportunity. Sometimes you're at a company and you've got people above you that are doing the things that you want to do, and there's this industry doesn't move in rapid pace all the time. So people want that next step, and they look to make a move. So it's good that we have a robust ecosystem where people can make those choices. And it sounds like from the culture you're creating and the opportunities you're creating, you're giving people an option right now.
We're definitely doing our best. And one of the great things about a company like AZ is, we are global, right? And so those opportunities, even if they're not here locally necessarily all the time, it's something maybe you go work overseas for a while or do us a comment or something. And so I did that at AZ in the past. And so I worked in Sweden for 6 months. And so it is entirely possible to do that and find those opportunities internally as well.
Yeah. And the new company you bought was overseas, right? Was that a Swiss company?
Belgian. Yeah.
Belgian. Okay. So it looks like there's going to be an opportunity to go in Belgium.
We'll see how that turns out, but it's still very early days. Right? I'm not going to say anything about that, but it is exciting about how we're we continue to invest in cell therapy, and again go after this with a very bold approach. Yeah.
That's great. I love it, Brian. Any closing thoughts for somebody that's listening today that wants to get involved with AZ or can see a future job in cell therapy with you?
So I would say I'll continue with theme. I think you and I have started here, so I'll say be bold, right? And so don't be shy about reaching out and expressing interest. And so no one's going to know about it if you don't reach out and raise your hand. And then use your network, use your connections to see. And while we have a lot of opportunities here. Again, just from a regional standpoint, we're not the only show in town, and so don't be it's good to look at different opportunities across different companies to get your foot in the door and go and grow your career that way. So I think building a network, reaching out, those types of things really go a long ways to help you build the skill sets to be successful in the future.
Great advice. Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself. From an organization that builds networks of life science.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, this is exciting, Brian. Thank you for taking the time today to share more about what you're doing. AZ is definitely being bold in cell therapy, and I'm excited to continue to watch and see the facility you're building come online. You said clinical product early next year, and then hopefully commercialized products move forward.
That's our plan. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. For everybody listening, thanks for tuning in. If you are looking to kind of extend your network, please reach out to me. We have an invite-only event for industry leaders next week. So we're having a conversation on the state of the capital region. I know there's been some turmoil also in the capital, within the capital region down in DC. So we have a policy analyst giving a talk on a 15-minute briefing on what companies can expect, and then conversation from a couple CEOs and investors in the region. Some of it we touched on today, but really what is the state of the capital region here, and what are companies doing to make sure that they can succeed, raise funding, hire the talent they need, move their trials forward. So if you're interested, please send me a note and a direct note after this. Again, be bold, reach out. Happy to talk with you. And in the meantime, Brian, hope to see you soon, but thank you so much. It was a really good conversation.
Yeah, good talking to you, Chris. You got it. Have a good one.
Yeah. Thanks for everything. Enjoy the rest of your day. All right.